I think I would just want someone who's not looking to be posted. Like, if I post you
or don't post you, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
That's
like,
fair.
Yeah.
That would actually make me want to post her more.
That's what I'm saying.
That's true.
It doesn't matter either way.
Yeah.
My ex never posted me, and there was a reason. He said he was private.
He had a family?
He didn't have a family, but he had many other things.
You can't pull off the private talk.
You know what's it's so bad to say? I don't even rock with that excuse in the first place.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm like, I don't even know if things really care like that.
He just wanted to appear single, so he'd never post someone because he wasn't ever telling anyone about me, except for his whole family.
That's crazy. I understand because Maria Shori said to me, she goes, and you post everybody on your page. I said, if you ever seen a woman on my page, you're guaranteed we're not sleeping together. That's my friend.
She said that to you?
Yeah, and you post everybody.
Oh, this was an actual conversation you guys had. Oh, shit.
We talked. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
And I was like, in her head, she thinks I'm smashing all these stories who are my friends while I'm posting. I said, if you see me post someone, that's my friend.
True.
Like, I'm not posting nobody I'm smashing. Are you out your monkey ass mind?
Chris, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. I'm a little tired. Been a long day, but I'm always energized as soon as we hit start on the cameras for the mayor's office.
I feel that. One good thing about Chris, one good thing about Adriel, and this is gonna be the last kudos I give him for the rest of the episode.
Oh.
I respect the fact that Adriel records the two most prominent podcasts that he's on. He records them both back to back. I have to commend that, especially last episode. You did a great job in defending yourself in this whole big three, Drake, Kendrick, Cole conversation. And you did that for the span of 5 hours.
Yes.
Even because there was an extra hour after we were done recording.
Yeah.
So the fact that you did both podcasts and still had enough energy and ammo to argue after, I commend that. I respect that.
It's easy to defend the truth.
All right, I don't respect that. We're going to cut all that. But yes, you already know what it is. You guys already know what you're tuned into, listening to, vibing with. It's the Mayor's Office podcast, baby. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I miss you guys. I'm so happy you guys get to hear me, hear the co-host, hear the team, hear the vibes. Either on YouTube, Spotify, whatever you guys are listening to, Apple Music, etc., etc. And I was right. Google Podcast is dead. I don't know what they're transitioning into, but they are dead. And Adriel, what episode is this?
52.
Episode 52 of the Mayor's Office podcast. And I don't do this podcast by myself. I do it with some amazing people. Coming in first, the owner, the creator, the manager of 1990 Studios, the man himself. Talk to him.
Hey, what's going on? This is Chrissy Stacks Edwards, 1990 Studios. Another sit down with the mayor's office. Something I look forward to every other week. Get to sit down, chop it up, have a good time, man. It's always good vibes, man. It's always good vibes. And like you said, sometimes they run long, and then there's the post-pod and the pre-pod that people don't even see. But one day, I think we're going to get on Patreon, and then they'll see the real shit.
Oh, that's when the real money's going to kick in, man. We be talking some shit off camera, man.
That's a different Adriel.
Adriel, yeah. You switch up when the camera's off for sure. Speaking of, my dog, my brother in Christ, one of my homies, we actually ended up doing a little bit of thrifting. We didn't do it crazy yet. Summer didn't hit, but we ended up doing some thrifting last weekend. So shout outs to my dog, Adriel Smiley. I appreciate you. Talk to him.
Shout out to Christ, brother in Christ. Adriel Smiley, AdrielSmiley.com, Adriel Smiley Official. Yeah, we're back. Episode 52. We had to dedicate this to someone. We'll hold off to that, but got to dedicate this episode to somebody special.
For sure. I'm actually interested to see who you pulled up for episode 52, because 51, we had Dick Buttkiss.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So I'm interested to see who you got for episode 52. Now, there's 4 of us here, 4 of us in this room. Usually, it's me, Chris, Omari, Adriel. But Omari, last episode, I know you guys missed him. He turned 30. He went to Puerto Vallarta.
Yep.
He had an amazing vacation with somebody, I don't know who. But we brought somebody back to the podcast. She is now a veteran in the podcast. So when I reached out to her, you know what she said? She said, say less, I'm there. Talk to her.
I did, in fact, say that. I am subbing in, otherwise known as Omari's backup, for a guy that usually, well, based on the attendance record, is pretty good, I think. I kind of listened to your scoring at the end of the year. He scored pretty decently on there, but Yes, happy to be back. It's Pam for the female monologue on this little journey. And I'm going to follow Adriel's lead and be my Instagram is the real Pam W since we're shouting out our own usernames now. So there you have it.
That's one of the AKAs. It just happens that the AKA is also one of my handles. But listen, I was basically begging for Pam to be on this podcast since the day that she left.
Bring Pam back. That was his slogan.
Yeah.
I
So basically
I
my favorite
appreciate
podcast
that.
of the year right now. Just from the start.
I would say, yeah, since your last episode, which was in a different studio, actually,
That is true.
he's probably said at least 8 to 12 times to bring Pam back. He's spoken into existence, and you're here.
Well, just know that I appreciate that, Adriel. I've been looking forward to come back too, also. So it was good chatting with you guys, catching up, checking out the new studio. Shout out to Chris in this beautiful space. A little more space, a little more light, a little more joy.
A little more joy. Okay, I like that.
Pam, I
like
can
that.
just sonically hear you're just a better podcaster than the last time you came. You've been practicing. Okay. I like it. People, the listeners want to know, the listeners want to understand what's the plan for this weekend. They get this episode on Friday. What are you guys doing this weekend?
Me, I never have any weekend plans. I'm recording some podcasts, doing some interviews,
Nice.
doing some stuff for Soul Series 8 on the way. But you know me, I mostly stay inside. So I don't have anything cool or fun. But before we get to Pam's amazing plans,
Mm-hmm.
we know Pam is turning the city upside down.
Don't get too hype. It's really not that serious.
I don't believe you. That's fine.
What's poppin'?
We got to dedicate this episode.
Yes,
To
episode
someone.
52. Who do we got?
So we got some good basketball names again.
At 52?
Yeah, very surprising.
Oh, can I think?
Guess they're mostly big men. So see if you can guess any of these big men.
52. Anybody recent?
Not really.
What era?
Early 2000s.
Early 2000s. Wore number 52 and was a big man. I'm gonna say Al Jefferson.
No, but you're in the right ballpark. Al Jefferson type of game.
Al Jefferson type of game. Wore 52.
Mhm.
Played in the early 2000s.
Yep.
Back to the basket player. I'm gonna say Scola.
No, American player.
Okay.
One of these guys is straight out of high school. One of these guys was an all-star one time. A couple of these guys was the number one pick.
Number one pick. Oh man. Now
Mhm.
Give him a team.
Bogey?
Give him a team.
Oh no, you said American.
I think one guy Chicago, two guys in Chicago, two Chicago big men. I don't know if they played together,
In the
but
early 2000s.
early 2000s, a little bit late 2000s. One straight out of high school. One was an all-star one time. Eddie Curry is this one I'm
Eddie
thinking.
Curry. I wouldn't have got Eddie Curry. I forgot about him, man.
Yeah, Eddie Curry is a
He
big
played
one.
on Chicago. Yeah. He played a little on Miami too.
I think he's
New York.
drafted by Chicago, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, and also played for the Zoo High Wolf Warriors as well.
Yes. That was probably post him being fat. Shout out to Eddie Curry.
Brad Miller as
Brad
well.
Miller. Yeah. Shout out to Brad
Yeah.
Miller, man.
And then
Real
Greg
tough guy.
and then Greg Oden.
Yes.
I
Greg
think in
Oden.
terms of like the
Greg
early
Oden was always 52. I feel like he had another number, but anyway.
he must have I think wasn't he O at one point?
Mhm.
Right?
Something like that.
So I think from those three we got a lot to choose from. Where do you want to go with this? Because I think a bunch of different lanes.
I had a lot of respect for Brad Miller back in the day.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm gonna rock with Brad Miller out of those three. Although, it's so unfortunate what happened to Greg Oden.
Yes,
but I'm
yes.
gonna rock with Brad Miller for sure.
I think Brad Miller is the one I would go with too. I feel like he probably could play the best in today's game.
Yeah,
Like he could shoot the ball a little bit. He had a little passing game. This is for a trivia segment that I'm going to bring back later on when Omari's here.
I like that.
But of all the guys who are one-time All-Stars, he's one of the guys that I always think of.
I forgot he was an all-star, man. Shout out to Brad Miller, bro.
Yeah, so as episode 52, Brad Miller, this one's for you.
I will say if Greg Oden didn't get those injuries, he would be the best 52.
Oh,
all
easily. He would have been nice.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
his knees, bro.
Yeah,
That's a game.
he would have been nice. Pam, what can you tell us about your amazing weekend you have coming up?
Well, it's really enthralling. I have my sister's birthday, so we're going for a midday lunch because I have nieces that can't be out late. So
Wow.
doing a midday lunch because, we're getting into senior territory now with my age group. And
Yeah, we don't have to say all that.
Yeah, you're so extra.
And I've recently returned to my past hobby of salsa dancing. So I actually have a performance on Saturday night.
Oh, you don't just go to the classes.
No, I'm back on a team performing, so I'll be doing a show on Saturday.
And you said you got nothing going on.
It's not really. It's not really.
You have some big
Something's
dinner
going on.
and performance.
Yeah, my bad, Shakira.
Sorry, Tyler. Okay.
It's low key. It's low key.
Okay, save the last dance.
It's at a very just a dance venue. We're just doing something low key, but
Do you get to choose who your partner is?
No, actually, in this performance, it's like what we call a shines routine in salsa. So everyone's doing their own little thing because we're uneven numbers. Because like most things in life, there's more women than men. So we're an uneven number. So we're doing the ratios are. You guys are doing the math, but girl math is there's always more women than
girl
men.
math. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not familiar with that.
okay.
They didn't teach that
I
in
thought you
school.
said math.
Yeah,
No,
They didn't
no.
teach girl
Different
math in
math.
school. My bad. My fault.
Yeah,
Girl
yeah,
math
yeah.
means the ratios. There seems to always be more women than men in whatever scenario you're in. So
good.
you're always out of range.
Where's
We're
that
going to the wrong
happening?
place.
Yeah.
Okay, so
But you're
we're not
performing.
invited, is what you're telling us.
Okay. First of all, I'm just coming out of retirement. I've been retired for 9 years, so
My bad,
I'm not
Jordan.
inviting anyone
My bad,
to
MJ.
it until I'm feeling proper again.
Okay, Hove. Okay, so no one's invited this time, but in the future, will there
I will
be
let you know when there is a more valuable show to watch. When maybe there's other shows also happening, so it's more of an experience as opposed to just sort of like a run of the routine.
Okay, I'm down though.
Do like
I'm
a
down.
podcast pull up.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
down. Let's do it.
You
Yeah.
know I'm a big fan. Chris, you got any cool plans this weekend?
I mean, other than hanging out with you on Saturday, doing some work, doing some podding, some
Yeah.
recording, some filming. Nah, not much, man. I think I'm gonna try to go and actually, I'm gonna go golfing on Sunday.
Okay.
Get the first real one out there.
The
We got
courses have opened.
of course they're open. Got a little. Actually, I did a quick 9 yesterday, but it was it's just a little par 3 in the area. Walked it. Didn't really
baby food.
baby food. Not really keeping score. But
Yeah.
now that it's Masters weekend as well, I gotta get out for a real 18.
Listen, it's getting warm right now. Anyone in Toronto listening to this, the sun didn't only come out for the eclipse.
No.
The sun is the sun
It's
is
jean
really
jacket
out.
weather, as you can tell.
Mm.
Well, I'm gonna push back on that because I think the sun is out, but it's still a little windy. The sun is out and it's fooling people, but I feel like this is probably the warmest day we've had all year.
For sure.
Yeah. So hopefully you guys listening to this on the weekend, it's still warm. It's looking good though.
It's supposed to
Few
rain
days.
though.
Yeah,
I
looked at the
think.
10-day forecast. I'm seeing the
Yeah.
double digits.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm saying?
a 2 in front of some things.
Yeah, the dog walks are
Ooh.
getting longer.
Yeah,
Mm.
facts.
Before it was the in and out.
Yeah, that was me
Now we're
still.
exploring.
Now she's actually walking.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
panting now. She's like, oh fuck, nigga, like.
I took Cash on a walk today and
yeah.
he came back parched. I said, "Oh, it's hot."
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. My dog was drooling like, yo, I gotta get back inside, man.
That is
Yeah,
crazy.
she couldn't wait, but yeah, for sure. For me, this weekend I'm planning to do an activity with a dating and intention friend. We'll
Oh,
see how
yes,
that
this is
goes.
Dating Intention 2024.
Yes.
So when we say activity, are we thinking, is it an activity that is not surrounded by food? Are we doing like an activity that's active?
Yeah, 100%.
Oh,
Yeah. I'm not
Love
big
that.
on the dinner dates. There's no like connection there. It feels like an interview sometimes. You guys sitting across from each other. Plus, I want to eat.
Mhm.
Fair.
Like, I don't really want to talk. You know what I'm saying? So, food's getting cold. You know what I mean? Activity, at least, like, we can kind of laugh about it. We're messing up or we're doing really well. We can, like, talk about it. You can see how competitive someone is, how not competitive they are. I like that type of vibe. That's more for me.
And time moves faster somehow. I know it doesn't really, but it feels like it where the 90 minutes in a dinner day and 90 minutes doing activity, the activity somehow feels like more
For
time has
sure.
passed.
For sure.
And I'm a time conscious person, so back in the day when I was dating,
Back in the day.
back in the day, the activity date was fun because it's like, okay, we can meet at 7:30. I can be on the highway by 9:15. And so if that's something that you're
active
conscious
dash.
about,
Did
Yeah.
you choose the activity, Ralph, or did
Yes,
your companion choose?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you like the type to like? Do you pick like an activity that, like, you're gonna pick like an activity that you're like good at, so you can like look real good in front of her and be like, oh, like I'm just like
No, because I'm really confident in myself, so I don't need to do that. But I try to do like.
la-ti da.
Okay, Ralph.
Are we done?
Go off.
Are we good?
We're good.
All right, cool. I'll try to do an activity that like, because I'm on TikTok a lot.
Yeah.
So try to do an activity that's like different that I'll see on TikTok.
Mm.
So usually, the bowling, the this, the that. But I want to do like, I seen like a paint splatter type thing. Like that looked pretty cool. You're in a room and then you put on like a cloak or whatever, and then you can just.
Is it the
splatter paint.
angry paint splatter?
Like
When you're angry, you're just throwing paint everywhere?
No, you get like a gun, like a paint gun, and like
That's
buckets, and you can just throw them all over the place. So I'm probably gonna do something like that.
I want to try the rage room where they go and break stuff.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I think that like once I start dating again, that would be the one that I.
Did you quit dating? Did I miss a memo?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah. I'm on strike.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, this podcast is like a soap opera. You miss an
Keep
episode.
up. Damn, I'm
You
behind.
miss an episode, you miss a lot about life. For sure.
Yeah, so I think that would be one that I would definitely would pull out the box. I feel like that would be a fun one, and you'll see some sides of someone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so the rage room is gonna be on
I like
the
that.
list.
Pam, as a woman, do you feel like you enjoy the dinner dates more or the activity dates?
No,
more?
I actually like activity dates too. Simply because don't get me wrong, I love food, but I go to eat all the time, and I feel like you get to see more of the person when you go to do an activity. So I always hope that if I am asked out, we're doing something, or that the person is coming up with something, because I got plenty of ideas like you. I see on TikTok all of the videos of different things. Like I've always seen this one video of I don't actually know what it's called, but it's like you're making a rug with a gun, but you can do your own
I've
design.
seen that. I've seen
Tufting.
that. That looks cool.
I think it's called
dope.
tufting.
Yeah,
And there's actually
yeah.
one near where I live in Liberty Village, and you can make like your own. You can make like the Raptors logo or whatever it is you want to do. Honestly, that seems like a pretty cool date.
Tufting.
That's a good one for a 3-man.
Mm.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah, shout out Freak Nasty.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Now that's a good one though.
That's a person. That's actually a person. Freak Nasty. We're not being like
If you say
degenerate.
so.
Is that worse or better? Shout out Freak Nasty.
Oh man. Okay, so tufting.
Yeah, tufting I'd like to try, and like what we were just talking about, like going rollerblading. Like
Okay.
or roller skating. Sorry, roller skating
Yes,
has like
yes.
4 wheels, right? So
Yeah.
I'd like to do that because the vibes look good. There is food there. You can snack, and the music's usually pretty good in everything that I've seen of people going. So
That sounds like a vibe. Okay. Maybe we could potentially double date. You can bring somebody and maybe you
Sure.
can like set
can
me up
you
with
find
somebody.
me a date?
I can find you a date very
Okay.
easily, actually.
Don't
Alright.
find
a lot of
Pam. Don't,
eligible bachelors.
don't find Pam a date. I'm sure Pam could find her a date.
Pam
She's just being
doesn't.
lazy.
Pam doesn't really date because I'm fed up with dating in the city, so I don't really
Pam has been
date.
scarred.
I would rather do
Name
something
names.
that's a little more like holistic, where you're meeting through someone at this point. Honestly,
Okay.
just because Hinge ain't it.
I can attest to that for sure. But we'll set up the double date. Maybe you
Okay.
and whoever I find, and me and a friend potentially. We'll see
Yes,
how
a
it goes.
friend.
Yes, a friend.
I think we should try that dating app where everyone meets in person. Have you guys seen that on TikTok?
Yes.
The,
I've heard of it.
the Thursday app. Have you tried? Have you been to any of
No,
those?
but I did look into that Thursday app, and then I noticed that there's a lot of people from my area in there, but no one that I would have any interest in. I've never gone to an event, but I do like the concept where you're going and meeting in person.
So it's like a mixer.
It's a mixer, so they always have like a venue on the Thursday night. You guys should get Thursday to sponsor this podcast at this point,
At
the way
least
we're
this
talking about it
segment,
right now. But so they host an event on a Thursday night. They get they say for all the singles, if you want to come out here, and they kind of do like little activities throughout the night for people to interact and talk with each other and meet people. It's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah, I think we should do that.
If
Yeah.
you're down, I'm down.
Yeah.
I was actually gonna go to a mixer the other day, because I decided to like just work up the courage and just do shit like that. But none of my single friends wanted to go with me, so I didn't want to go by myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. I'll roll with you for sure. I'll just be throwing the
I'll
lobs.
roll. I can be one of the guys too.
Let's do it, and it's in your area. Or it doesn't matter where?
I think it's like rotates,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
usually downtown.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm a great wing person.
So
for
am I,
sure.
actually.
So we can both wing
Yeah.
Ralph.
Are you?
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't believe
Yeah,
that.
you didn't know?
No, I don't believe that.
So she's the type to gatekeep friends. Is that what you're trying to say?
Potentially, yeah. I would say that.
I don't know what he's talking about.
We'll see that.
He's
I'll say
talking
that.
out of pocket right now.
Sounds like a yes. For sure.
Hey, man.
I-
Each his own. At the end of the day's got to end, right?
At
Hey.
the end of the day,
That's a fact.
There's bars right there.
do you feel a way about someone dating one of your friends?
Dating one of my friends?
Yeah.
It depends on the context that I know that woman.
Yeah, Ralph, how do you feel about someone dating one of your friends?
Yeah, like
I've had somebody date one of my friends.
okay, let's be hypothetical, okay?
Yeah.
It's
Not literal.
hypothetical, okay?
Alright.
It's
Strictly
it's a woman.
hypothetical.
Yes.
Her name is Sam. And, and she
Did it have to rhyme, Adriel? You couldn't
that
go
was just
like
a complete coincidence. Complete coincidence.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And you introduced her to one of your friends.
I'm absolutely fine with that.
Okay,
Because
so
I set that up.
but what is a situation that you're not comfortable with?
If I've dated that girl in some capacity, or if I had some level of attraction to her in some capacity and my friend didn't hit me up and say, yo,
Mm-hmm.
feeling this person, we're talking. If we didn't have that prior conversation, then I'll feel away. But any other way,
So
I don't care.
Kind of like the fat friend that we were talking about last week.
yes. Yes,
Okay,
yes, yes,
okay.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, I think that that's something that I've always not been a part of. Like I have friends who, they dibble and dabble, mix and match, we'll call it. But that's never been my vibe. That's just not. I feel like the second you like one of my friends, like the second Ralph likes someone or they have something, you're off limits to me. You could be as beautiful as ever. The second you and Ralph even kissed,
well, it's kind of like
cool.
bro
Respect,
code from back
respect.
in the day, right? Like just
Yeah.
being respectful. Like once someone's kind of entered, like that's their territory, you don't really want to enter it after that.
that's a good point. I think if I said those words, I might get canceled because I don't think I'm allowed to say I don't want to enter it after that. But I know what you're trying to say. I know. What
All
you're
right, so
trying to say.
take
Pause.
current, take whoever is in you, take anything out. Like this is hypothetical, right? I'm not like subbing or anything like that.
Sam.
I'm not subbing or anything like that. This is a genuine question.
Yeah.
Have you ever felt a way if one of your male friends wanted to talk to one of your homegirls? Does that bother you?
Not really. So for me with my friends, I am happy to like if there's mutuals and they're interested in each other, by all means, like
Mhm.
let it happen. I don't really like the thought of like if something goes awry, then it causes this weird awkwardness where like if you try to hang out with this one friend now, that friend doesn't want to be there. I don't love that part of it, but I also know my friends really well and I know what they like and what they don't like. So rather if someone hypothetically is interested in someone that I know and I know that it's probably not going to go just off the bat, then I won't even suggest it, mostly because I don't want to go through the awkwardness of like I don't really think it's going to work, but I'll try. Like I'm happy to put people on.
So you would initiate that connection.
I'll initiate it, no
Okay, I
problem.
got
But
you.
if I know, because I know my friends pretty well, if I know they're going to be like, nah, why would you even suggest that? Then
Yeah,
Okay.
I like that mentality. I think there's some honor to that. But I do think that how do we decide what's not gonna work? Because that's just our perspective. If that makes any sense?
true. And
Like-
I think there is something to like when someone meets someone's personality, it can definitely make a difference. But I think, and I can say this because I know some of my friends are very picky beyond the point of maybe being too picky, where they have very specific needs in a partner that they're looking for off the bat. That's not to say that something couldn't happen and if they meet someone that it would
Yeah, love
change
is
based on the
love.
personality. But
Okay, so I have a question for you with that then.
Yeah.
Because like, relatively speaking, like we're not old, right? None of us are like old in any way, shape, or form. Like we're very able-bodied. We have a lot of energy, whatever. Do you feel like that might, like your friends, would they have to kind of adjust their thought process in order to find somebody? Because like,
I think so.
I think even men or women,
Mm.
I think it's absolutely fair to have your preferences at whatever level you feel like it needs to be,
Yeah.
but at a certain point in your life. I think slowly you have to kind of like open up your preferences, because maybe that could be a contributing factor why you're still single at a certain age. Like, I know that I had to adjust some of my preferences. Now I'm 31. Like, my preferences can't be the same preferences I had when I was 22. You know what I mean?
I would agree with that for sure.
I think there's a part of that, and I think when it comes to two new friends meeting, I always say people want to find someone who's cool and mysterious. They're only cool and mysterious because you don't know them yet. And so your friend is meeting your other friend for the first time, and so because they only see the physical or they don't know them, this person is so cool.
Yeah.
And so you kind of have to allow them that feeling in a sense.
Yeah.
Even though you know it's like,
Agreed. And like, for perspective, I am older than both of you gentlemen, fine gentlemen in here. So I have a few more years, and I've been single since my ex, which was now 4.5
X amount of time. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever, 4.5 years ago.
Yeah.
And like, I've dated in between, and but as I've gotten older, I've shifted sort of my priorities on what I'm looking for in a person, and I'm trying to be more open on what I used to have as like my bare minimum.
Okay.
Because, you know, girls like to have like, oh, I want my man to be 6 foot. I want him to have this job. I want him to be able to do this. But for me, I'm still, don't get me wrong, I'm still a big thing on like looks, and I got to be attracted to you.
You have to have some preferences.
Yeah, but like personality, honestly, personality and the way people communicate and emotional intelligence plays a way bigger part in a relationship than someone being 6'2". Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, because you could keep saying like, I need that person that's this, that. So 6'2", $120,000 minimum, has this, has that. But those could be the same people that have led you to continue to be single, right?
I think it's also what you focus on too, because I always say it is like, there's your type physically is all over the place.
Yeah,
true. You know, and you're attaching your type physically and attaching a mentality or personality with that you think comes with that. And so it's like, maybe there's this person who fits your type physically, but personality-wise are not what you've always looked for.
Yeah.
The emotional intelligence, also a good point.
Yeah.
That was a really good point.
I think for myself, I've always seen like, I don't think people assume I am, how I look. I think people who meet me, seeing me outside, they assume I'm a certain way. And then they're kind of like, oh, I kind of wanted who I thought you were. And so you had to allow yourself that kind of space. That's
fair. Chris, do you feel like you would have the same preferences now if you're single as opposed to like before you met your wife?
No. If I was thinking back to my headspace back then to now, I definitely would be probably on a different mindset than when I was. I mean, even though I'm with my same person I was back then, but no, because it changes as you get older. But like, I've been with her for so long, where we kind of just grew up together at this point for the last 10 years, 10 plus.
Yeah.
But nah.
Okay, you guys. Yeah, I agree with that. I think my preferences before my last relationship were probably a little more physical than my preferences now, which is a little more mental.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with that for sure.
I think that it should always be mental. I talked about this.
When you're young, though, it's
there's a lot of influences on the outside too.
And you know what it is? I realize is the mentality that it's okay to go through the nonsense. Or like, she's so hot, she can just yell at me. That kind of, you know, that like young mentality of like, it comes with it. Like, you know, it's spicy because it's so whatever.
Well, and I think and from what I've heard from other guys at least, like when you're younger, you're kind of into that like toxic energy where it's like you want someone that's going to fight you because you like the spiciness back. At least for some people.
Right. No. It's not even, for me, I like hood girls. And like when I was in my 20s, I just like, it's just something about hood girls that it does something for me.
Nah, I know what you mean.
Because there's like something you almost have to like fight for. There's like it's throwing this spark at you, but
100%.
you don't realize that having some sort of like neutrality in just being like happy maybe, or just like respectful with each other.
I don't want a hood girl now. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't want one now. But yeah, when I was in my 20s, I'm like, yo, I like that, yo. I like that little extra.
Yeah, I think there's a thing for me that I always liked like the calm, peaceful energy. But I think that when you're younger, sometimes calm and peaceful goes with boring. And no one wants boring. And I had someone tell me once, and Ralph, you know who this person is actually, but And when I first met her, she was like, "You were so enthralling. You were such a nice guy, but not in the
Brawling.
You were such a nice guy, but not in the boring way."
Oof.
And I said,
What does that mean?
I was like,
You know what it
"Thanks?"
is? Because there's been
Uh.
times when I've gone out with a person and I was like, you first met them and they seem real cool. Maybe it's because they've had a few drinks. They seem
Mhm.
real chatty. It seems like there's something going on. And then you go for a dinner and you're like, oh, that's not the same. You're very nice, but there's nothing
Nothing there.
going on. So I
Yeah.
think when someone describes you as enthralling, that's actually a pretty good compliment because it means you're still lighting something up during your conversation while being a nice person.
But-
Humor's number one for me. That's personally what I think like attracts me the most to someone is if we have the same humor.
Yeah.
Like I was telling a story before about someone calling themselves a dumb C. Like that was our first date that happened.
Right.
And that humor of like self-deprecating, you're
Mm.
you're using words that maybe you shouldn't be using. Well, okay, we can
but
get
that
along
also
here.
shows like a level of like comfortability off the bat, right? Like if
Mhm.
someone feels like they can be themselves to do that, it's kind of giving this sense of like this is an easy back-to-back conversation and it's
Yeah.
kind of just flowing, right?
Yeah, I think that's what it is too. Because I think when you're younger, it's easier to like let that go and just want to be what the other person wants because you like them, you like this, you like that. But like as you get old, that's why I think your taste changes too. Because you start to realize these different types of people that you're normally maybe attracted to, maybe going to. You're not actually able to be yourself, and then you're just like you're not happy, you know. But when you can like fully just like I tell you, if some people heard the conversations me and my wife had, and if some of the stuff that I say like as like jokes,
Yeah.
it would not be good. Like it would not be good. But like she gets it, and like she's like like it's fun, you know. You have that little
Mhm, mhm.
intimate kind of relationship, but you
That's
gotta be yourself.
That's a prerequisite, and I think I didn't realize that was so new for most people because that's how I had known things. And then once I realized that wasn't the norm, I was like, Lord God have mercy. Because people are in
Yeah.
deep relationships and not comfortable to be themselves and
Yeah,
putting
yeah.
on a front, and it's like oh my, thank God she's gone, you know. And it's like
Like
that's
when
not,
people can't go to the bathroom in their other half's house because they don't feel comfortable enough to do that.
my
I mean,
ex-
she
Like,
uses the
that's
downstairs
crazy.
basement.
Fucking,
but
I
she
lived
gets
in a condo that was
Mm.
connected to like a mall, and my ex used to go downstairs to the mall area and use like the mall bathrooms
I'd
and say,
page her.
"Oh, I gotta go to Shoppers to buy something."
I'd page her.
Wow.
I'd
Like,
page
I
her.
had to page her. I was like, "Yo, go take
Take
a
a
shit.
shit. Take a shit.
Go take a shit, man. It's
Yeah,
okay.
like-
You can poop. It's,
Like-
it's cool."
And that's the thing too. I think to me, like I'm trying to be comfortable. If we're both comfortable, then we got something.
Yeah.
If one of us is like not being ourselves,
Yeah.
then we can't hang. So that's most important to me.
Pam, I got a question for you.
Sure.
All right. As a woman,
Mm.
do you value, as a woman that's dating, do you value a guy that would have a car and no place? Like he lives with his family or whatever? Or a guy that has his place and no car? What do you value more?
It's a good question.
Same dude. They're both the same guy.
So that preference changed based on my scenario. So when I lived at home, a guy with a car was more important because we could go. I don't love driving. I drive. I drive myself everywhere. I've been single for a while. Even when I was single before, I drive myself everywhere. So it's kind of nice, you know, this whole like passenger princess type thing. So when I lived at home when I was younger, having a guy with a car, because I didn't have a car, made a lot of sense. Got us places where we need to be. I could leave whenever I wanted. As I've grown up into an adult, for me, dating someone with their own place is probably more important. Not because the car is less important. It's ideal to have both, if I'm honest, because then it's not always you driving everywhere. But I think at this age, someone that's still living at home makes it very difficult to try to get together. And honestly, and I can say this from experience because my ex gave me a reason as to why he still lived at home and said he was supporting his mom in her health issues, but it was just because he was struggling himself and like didn't want to admit it. He had his own car, so he drove everywhere.
Yeah.
And So I was at his house with his mom and his little brother all the time. And like I got to know their family really well, which was great. But I'd much rather my man have his own place. Like
Yeah,
I want a
yeah,
place,
yeah.
like I have my own place. I'd like to be able to go to your place. Hanging out at my place is cool too, but having my man have his own place, I have a car right now, so it's not as he can drive my car for all I care. I don't really care. And I don't care what kind of car you drive either. I know people are very specific about that. I don't really care. If you have your own place, we can go to my place, we can go to your place, who's ever closer to wherever it is we're going, and it just makes life easier.
Okay. That's interesting. I lost a bet to Adriel.
Oh, really?
Not specifically about what you would answer.
Yeah.
Just in general. Like we've said like when we first started this podcast, it was a conversation that me and him always had. Because like he's a scenario, he's at home, by choice.
Mhm.
By choice. He's at home, but he has a car.
Mm.
But I'm the opposite. I have my spot, but I have no car.
Yeah.
So then me and him would always have a conversation about what a girl might value more. And I always think a girl might value his scenario, and he always thinks a girl might value my scenario.
But I think it's also circumstantial, right? Like a guy I was seeing had his own place and had his own car, but never drove his car because he lived downtown. So I would go to his place all the time just because it was right in an area where we were always around it. It was close to my work too, so it kind of just made sense. But he shifted careers. He moved back home because saving money while you
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
Why not? And because I already knew him and we had built that, it doesn't bother me that he lives there. Like he comes down to my place, we go out, whatever. So I think it's also very dependent on circumstances, how long you've known the person. Like I'm never gonna dog him for the fact that he moved back home because I know he's switching careers to do what he wants to do now. So it's very dependent on circumstance and I guess the scenario that the woman's in. Also because I have my own car, I can get myself places. So I don't care if the man has a car.
I agree with that. I think for me, the reason I don't have a car is because I have everything close to me. And literally the only reason I would have a car is to appease someone I'm dating. Like,
Really?
And yeah, I have no other reason to get a car. Like
Okay.
everything's close to me, literally. Like the podcast,
Yeah.
I work from
true.
home.
You
My
are right
condo
around
has
the
a
corner.
gym.
Yeah.
Like there's grocery stores less than 5-minute walk from me. Restaurants. Can you think of another reason to have a car?
Nah.
I have a car simply because I've always had one because I come from suburbs and I had a car since I was
That makes
young.
sense.
So
Yeah.
I've always used to driving myself places. And for me personally, I don't feel safe on the TTC at all. I'm either going to get punched in the face or there's going to be a fight around me or something. Someone's going to try to push you. So for me, I've always liked it for convenience purposes. I also don't like the smells and touching and germs and things that
Don't
go
like
around.
smells.
That's half
There's
the fun.
smells. Yeah, and
That's half
for
the
me,
fun.
like my brother lives in Newmarket. Like I
Yeah.
don't really want to be taking the GO train there to get there. It's just easier to have a car, from my perspective.
To me, again, I'm speaking from experience, I got on
Yeah.
both sides. When I didn't have a car and I had a place, like the car thing never came up. But I think that me having like a car now and not having my own place, like back when I was dating, someone could just be cut out for that. Like if I can do the math and be like, "Oh, you live with your parents? I'm not bringing you to my place." And the crazy thing is, anyone's been to my place, like I really could. Like I have my own entrance. Like
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
you know, it's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I have
yeah.
my own kitchen, everything.
Yeah.
But I still just don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And so it's like if I was talking to someone new, I'm like, "You're out there running."
So the man that did both,
Mhm.
like in your 20s, what would you prefer?
I prefer having my own place because I feel like there's still so much you can do with a car. And I feel like if you're with someone who's going to have a problem that you don't have a car, if they don't have a car either and they have a problem with it, then like, what
Yeah,
are we
that's
really
crazy.
doing? You know?
Crazy.
If
Yeah,
you-
my friend literally just said that on the phone to me today.
Yeah, if you have I've dated someone who had a car when I didn't have a car.
Yeah.
That would cause problems for different reasons. But if you have a car and I don't have a car, talk your shit. Go off. But if you also don't have a car,
You can't hate on someone else for not having
No.
one if you don't have one
Yeah.
yourself.
yeah.
I think that's more likely to happen though.
It
I think
absolutely
it'll be the
is.
woman that doesn't have the car that's complaining that you don't have the car.
Yo,
yeah, and you
actually,
stand up and tell them straight, like,
No, it is
You
that.
guys-
I know people that live downtown and they're like, "Oh, well, I met this guy and he's really nice, but he doesn't drive." But you don't drive either. So how
How
are
do-
you
how do you
holding
hold
that
the
against him?
standard,
yeah,
like
it's
it's wild.
to me.
And you live downtown, so understandable.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
don't even really need one when you're
Yeah.
young.
What I think is actually worse to me is someone who can't drive.
Mm.
Like you don't have no license,
Yeah.
no G2, no G1, nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That to me is worse because like I know someone who lives downtown, they don't really drive much. They don't have a car. But when it's time to go somewhere or they need a car, they'll rent a car for a day, something like
Yeah,
that.
because then at
So
least
that
you
person
can.
yeah, at least get Turo or something like that.
Yeah, so it's
True.
they have that option. But I think that if you're someone who you're at this big age and you have no G1, no nothing, and personally, I think especially if you want to have kids, that's
You need to drive.
Oh yeah, you can't have kids and no license. That's madness.
yeah.
'Cause, yeah, what if your woman breaks her water?
You call it Uber? Like
Mm.
Yeah,
crazy.
you're in a tough
Okay.
stage.
I have one more suggestion. I
Yeah,
think
talk to
we'll
me.
fix things. Okay, remember last week we had the thing on social media that'll
That-
fix things.
Yo, a lot of people like what you have to say.
Okay, I got one more that'll fix things. Okay, this one I think if we can make this mandatory,
Mm.
this would do a lot. Okay, anyone who has a child, no matter the situation, mandatory therapy when you have the child. So man, woman, whoever's involved, the parents.
Therapy for the parent or for the child?
for the parents.
Oh.
The parents have to have mandatory therapy as soon as they have a child. So if you see someone who has a kid, you can just assume, okay, they're in therapy now because they had a child.
But why the therapy only when they've had a child?
Yeah.
I feel
What's the
like
purpose of the
therapy should be
therapy?
Yeah.
mandatory for every human.
I think
I don't have time for
therapy should be mandatory regardless, but I think when you have a child, it sometimes is a stunt of growth in a way because you're so focused on your child that your personal growth takes a back seat. I think everyone can attest to how their parents dealt with them at certain times.
Mm.
And sometimes you see parents grow after you leave the home or after you're not a kid anymore. And it's almost like the personal growth you need to be a good parent isn't always there.
You can tell this guy's the firstborn. Had to deal with the shit, yeah.
I think
Hey.
everyone had to deal with it. So I think anytime someone has a kid,
Yeah.
mandatory therapy, I think that would help a lot.
Okay. I like that.
I think people
Um,
should have therapy in general.
There's not enough psychiatrists in the
Yeah,
world.
No.
you're asking a lot. You're asking
That's
a
true.
lot.
That's true.
I think the one thing that I've been thinking about the past couple of weeks is there's one guy I know who can't. There's no talking that's gonna save him. That's your boy Aubrey Graham.
What a transition. Yeah.
Wow, he really went straight to Drake.
This guy, give it up, give it up, give it up, give it up, give it up. That was a good one. I like that. I
Don't
like
quote
that.
me.
What's
Your
going on
boy.
with Drizzy? He finished his tour. They
He-
sprayed him with champagne.
I think.
When we do the thing that we're gonna talk about,
Yeah.
we're gonna spray you with champagne too.
we're not. Um,
You're not into that?
no.
Please don't be into that.
Yeah, that's
No, that's a
Anyway, yeah. So
yeah, man.
That's your-
Anyways,
that's your thing.
anyways.
that was a big tour that he did, man.
No, the tour was a big tour. He had all the Instagram captions. I think that it's time for him to respond. It's time for Drake to respond.
Yeah,
I think especially after J. Cole apologized and responded.
crazy.
I think
We're jumping the gun. Let's stick on Drake right now. We're gonna
Well-
get to that light skin, the other light skin.
well here's the thing. Here's the thing with Drake. I think when that verse dropped,
hmm
everyone was doing all these memes of Kendrick running to the studio. My thought was Drake went and rewrote his whole verse because I think that there's all these like things that he might be able to say or expose, but I think the level of rapping is gonna be at a certain level that he has to get to, and I think that right now in this beef discussion, whatever it is,
Yeah,
Drake doesn't know what the parameters are. I think that that's one thing that hasn't been set all the way and properly,
yeah.
set out is that what's going to win this battle? Like Pusha T won the battle with exposing Drake. I think he won the Meek Mill battle by having some hits.
Yeah.
But what's this one going to be?
And on top of that, like he knew Drake's girl. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's like-
yeah.
They had that relationship. They had that prior relationship. What I would say, he does need to respond. I think the J. Cole thing did like take a lot of pressure off. I completely agree with
You
that.
think so?
I think it took pressure off for a little bit, but now people are gonna start talking like, "Yo, this nigga needs to respond. This nigga
You
needs
don't
to say
think
something."
Drake wrote something backstage at his concert? That man just keeps writing
I think he's
random
writing
things
something
all
now.
the time.
Since the tour's done, I think he's writing something.
Did
now.
you see that thing though, where he's in the club and he's just like on his phone like this?
I'm
and there's all
telling
these
you,
girls
this man
around?
just writes lyrics whenever he can.
I think
I think he's in the studio now.
No, I think Pam's right because I think that
He's petty. He wrote it right away.
He's petty, but also it's what I said before.
Maybe.
Kendrick's been planning this for months, so you gotta understand like if a dude punches you in the face and you could tell it's premeditated, and you're in your best fit going to an award show, and you're like, okay, he clearly planned to fight me at this award show because it's hard for me to fight back.
Yeah.
So I think Drake is being as well aware of that, especially when Metro and Future are dropping this Friday.
Yeah.
So it's like he probably has to wait until they drop to be like, okay, are they gonna say something else in their drop on Friday? And again, they've planned this out. They did this Wise on Tour on purpose. So if you're writing as someone you know has this well thought out, you're like, okay, I got to try and catch up in a sense.
And the one thing, Kendrick, nobody knows how battle tested he is. So you could throw a jab, but you don't know if he's going to hit you with an uppercut.
Yeah, you don't
So
know.
you have to be really careful because as you said, he's a meticulous nigga, bro. And there's a history of niggas just apologizing after throwing that little jab to him. Like
that's crazy.
There's actually
Lupe, Jay Electronica.
and now Cole. That's a lot of niggas that apologize.
That's some top lyricists apologizing too. Like.
So it's like you don't...
Nah.
So the best thing now with social media, I think, in terms of rap beef, is to beat somebody through exposing them. I think that's your best way of actually winning like a war through social media. Like men, women, everybody's unified is through exposing. Yeah. I don't think there's much to expose with Kendrick.
Yeah, he's got to take his... Go ahead.
I don't know if that's true because I think we just don't know. And so I think we're assuming that because it's Kendrick. And I'm like, I think even in Kendrick's music, he's not always telling us so much about himself in his music. It's a lot about, themes and ideas.
What could Drake say, hypothetically speaking, about Kendrick that will make niggas be like, whoa, I didn't know that? Cheating?
No, cheating, he said that. But my point is, we don't know, so much we don't know. So I think if there's something that we don't know and we hear for the first time,
so I'm asking you, what do you think it would be?
I have no idea.
Nobody knows.
It's the unknown.
No, what is something out there that you'd be like, oh, fuck, like, yeah, Drake, you got it.
I don't think we can speak to that because to me, I go back to two battles. When Pusha brought up Drake's kid, that was not even on anyone's board to say, what if Drake has a kid?
But that's not outside the realm of possibility.
No, but we thought of that after the fact. Beforehand, no one was saying, maybe this and this. Like, we thought he might get at Drake's mom or 40, but no one was saying he's gonna expose a kid that Drake has.
I think the only lane Drake has on Kendrick is the fact that he has more number ones, more hits, and has more money. But like that can only go so far, right?
Yeah.
That works against a Meek Mill.
I was about to say, yeah.
But Kendrick, he's not making Drake money, but he's still a top dog.
And you gotta come you gotta come at him not the same way you came at Meek Mill. None of
Totally
this. Your
different.
girls tour is your world tour. That's not gonna work.
Yeah, it's not gonna work with
Nah,
Kendrick. Like
you
Kendrick's,
gotta-
if you take Drake out of the picture, Kendrick's like up there. You know what I mean? Like in terms of this generation of artists. So yeah, it's a different beast. I want to know what he could really do.
I think two things. I think that let's go back to the Meek Mill beef. Remember when Meek Mill talked about T.I.'s man pissing on Drake? That was a random reveal. It didn't end him, and no one brings it up now.
Nobody brings it up. That's crazy.
That totally skated by.
That's something like exposing may not be the thing for either of them because sometimes depending on what it is, people don't care.
It's got to be something.
The second thing is, I think that Drake has some hands in Kendrick's career and success. That may be the thing of.
I don't think that's enough, man.
No,
I brought you. He brought him on tour and he put him on Buried Alive.
You're assuming that there's nothing we don't know. Like you're going off things we know. Like think about something we can't even think of.
There may be something Kendrick did.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that there's nothing for nobody is nothing. Everyone has something.
Everyone has skeletons.
I think all of these niggas are apologizing to Kendrick because they have nothing on him, bro.
Chris,
that's what I personally think.
Chris, he's
I'm not
doing
saying that
the
'cause I'm
sprinkle.
caping.
He's doing the sprinkle that I was talking about earlier.
Oh my God! Don't put me in no DeMar and you conversation. I'm a totally different. There's levels.
No, but I'm saying even how strongly you're assuming there's nothing is my point. Like I'm not.
There could be something.
No, but I'm saying I'm doing the assuming there's something because for every battle we've seen, for everyone there has been something.
Yeah.
So there's no. So like, Kendrick might be not as bad.
This is the fifth nigga to try to go at Kendrick. Potentially, he hasn't done it yet. This is the fifth nigga.
And
the other four niggas had nothing, and they've all apologized. I think you're right. Everybody has skeletons in their closet. But Kendrick, as you also said,
Mhm.
Kendrick has brought up his skeletons. He's cheated in the
Yeah.
past.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a skeleton. Maybe not. I just personally believe if a man had real shots to fire, he would have fired it by now, bro. Because, as Pam said, yeah, I'm including all of you guys in the conversation, he's a petty nigga.
I'm not.
He would have brought it up by
okay.
now.
I don't. I think he's got a.
Or he
I
would have heard whispers.
But maybe he has something so big he's holding on, deciding whether he's going to put it out or not.
yeah. I think your assumption that Kendrick
Maybe.
is a scot
It's
free in
possible.
this.
It's possible.
As long as
These
we
are all
don't-
hypotheticals.
As long as we don't have another like Jay Prince comes in is like, oh, he had something real good, but you know.
I don't want to hear that shit
Yeah,
too.
nah,
You're right. I don't
none
want to
of
hear
that.
that shit again.
What I really think is gonna happen.
we had to delete that
Yeah.
because it would have got.
no, I don't want that.
That would
I don't
wanna
probably
hear
be, that
that
would be
shit,
worse
bro.
for Drake, because then everybody would be like, okay, this
No,
is
no. You
Yeah,
can't-
yeah. That's like holding your boy back. Like, he'll fuck you up if I
Yeah.
wasn't holding him
Yeah,
back.
yeah,
Right
He
now.
would have. Yeah. No, Drake has one get out of jail free card. He had that already.
Yeah.
You can't do that again. But what I think is really gonna happen, I think it's gonna be a lot of big bro, little bro talk of like Drake is the older brother and like you're really my kid in this.
It's tough because you niggas is the same age. Came out the same.
No, but
time.
I think that in terms of like career wise, like even when Cole dropped, people were saying how Cole hadn't mentioned that he's the one who put Dr. Dre onto Kendrick Lamar, and he's the one who helped Kendrick when he had his fight with Diddy. And it's like those are not big whatevers.
Why was Kendrick fighting with Diddy?
Yeesh.
Maybe there's something there.
Maybe.
Kendrick was fighting with Diddy because we know why he was
Yeah,
fighting
he-
with Diddy because he goes against all evil.
But I think there's
that's
just
a plus
things
for
that we
That is a plus.
the things we
Actually,
don't
Drake
know.
went against Diddy too, so they
Yeah, they're both against evil.
They're both doing
They're both
God's
fighting-
work.
yeah,
both
they're
doing God's
fighting
work.
evil.
But I feel like because it's Kendrick, I think the less we know about someone,
Yeah.
what will surprise us is more things. That's kind of my point. I think for Drake, it took a child to surprise us. Drake, we know so much about Drake. It's like you're not gonna surprise us with Drake looking in a girl's purse.
True.
He raps about that himself. You
All
know
right,
what
so
I mean?
can we admit some things?
Mm.
Bringing up money is not really a big deal. The other nigga's
Mm-hmm.
worth 8 figures, so it is what it is. So you can't bring up money.
No.
Records, you could bring it up. I don't think that's gonna do enough damage.
He's
to
not
really
doing that in
do
a
nothing.
battle though.
And I don't think he might. You never know.
Has he done that before?
He did it with Meek. He little bro'd Meek.
But those are big differences in those.
That's what I'm
numbers.
saying. So that's not gonna work.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm.
You can't talk about his girl. He's been married to this woman. And like he has kids that aren't out of wedlock.
Mm.
So like if you bring and I'm no diss to Drake, but if you
Yeah.
bring that up in a battle, you're kind of contradicting yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's tough, man.
Bro, you're going off stuff you know. Like let's reopen your mind. Open your
My
mind.
mind's open. My
Yeah.
third eye is open.
Like he's never been in like the
But-
room with an engineer who maybe heard
No, but that's
something,
something like
or,
maybe.
you know.
Weird.
But
What
what
stuff
are
we
the
know?
top 3 things that really expose niggas? It's money. No, seriously.
Yeah,
in
yeah,
any
no.
beef, it's money, it's women,
Yeah.
and it's family. So and Kendrick has talked about his family in depth. He's talked about like his situations with women,
Mhm.
and money is like I think it's a moot point.
Can't
Yeah,
do
money can't win with money.
No.
So what else do niggas beef about, really? Like, what else do niggas, you know what I mean? That's where my mind's going. If I was going to beef with Adriel, which will never happen, but if I
Never
was going to
that,
beef
never
with
that.
Adriel, like, those are probably the top 3 things that
Yeah.
I'll try to beef with a man about.
Mhm.
Like, think about it, bro.
You know what? Okay, I can't predict the future, but here's what I really think is going to happen. I really think that the main difference between Drake and Kendrick is the influence.
Mm.
Who listens to Drake? Who rocks with Drake?
Mm-hmm.
I think about Complex has that thing that Goat Talk segment. How many kids have come on that Goat Talk segment and said Drake is the GOAT? And we look at them crazy by saying like, you don't ever heard of Jay-Z, you never heard of this person?
Mm-hmm.
But that's like a
That's
common.
this generation.
So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that is the biggest space between the two. And if Drake can find a clever way to be like, yo, listen, I'm the guy to all these people, you're the guy to these people over here. And I think that is his case because that is his best case scenario. Kind of like Jay-Z and Nas in a sense, when Jay was like, yo, listen, you're a spring chicken, I'm up here.
Yeah.
That I think is the biggest case. But to me, I think Drake is going to be responding to everyone in the industry. I don't think this will be just a Kendrick diss. I think this will be a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I think that
Ross.
Yeah, he's taking it all personal. He's
Future,
gonna air it.
Metro.
He's gonna air it all
yep,
out.
Yep.
and what I think
that
is
way
that
he doesn't have to do it just about Kendrick. He can air it out about everyone, and people will get so distracted by the other stuff he's putting out. It doesn't have to be.
and I think
So
it'll
do you
apply to
think it is
everyone.
going to be
Never
one
know,
record? If he disses?
I think it'll be one record. I think it'll apply to everyone because I think his case for everyone is the same. I think Drake's hand he's had in everyone's success of this era and them becoming bigger stars, no one else can say that.
Okay, so remember that diss back to Pusha T before Pusha T dropped Story of Adidon, right?
Yeah.
That diss was barely a Push diss. It was 75% a Kanye
You mean
diss.
Duppy freestyle?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was 75% a Kanye diss.
Yeah.
You think he does that if he airs out the industry like you guys are mentioning, right? He does a little 1-2 bar about Kendrick, but he's just attacking everybody else?
Now Kendrick gets more than a 1-2
Yeah,
bar.
think so?
I was gonna say I agree. Yeah,
Okay.
he has to
Because
get
Kendrick came right at him, and I think like right to this point, the point I'm making of Drake's hand in the industry success, hip hop becoming the biggest genre success,
Yeah.
that Kendrick has no say in that. Kendrick can't say I've done that too.
Yeah.
So I think that's one thing where Drake could say, all these artists who you feature, I'm their biggest song. All of this, I made this happen.
I don't
I'm
think
the reason.
personally I don't think that is enough for beef, but he can add that in. Yeah. I agree with that.
I think it's just a tone.
It's supplementary to beef.
Yeah, it's part of
like
it.
asparagus.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
If it accompanies a state.
I think about Future. I'm like, Future is a big artist in his own right, but What a Time to Be Alive was the peak of Future being a mainstream artist.
Okay.
And so it's like an artist like Future who would have been fine on his own, didn't need Drake. Where Future is now.
Drake can go at Future. I have no issue with that. Like I think he has enough ammo for that because those points that I brought up, the women, the power and everything, he can attack Future on that.
I'm leaving that alone. I'm just going off of what I'm saying, the career thing of like, Future would have been a big artist already, but you being this big of an artist, I'm a part of that.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
I part of made that happen. So
Okay.
I think that's what he has over everyone else as a whole of like, Rick Ross, your biggest song is with me. Kendrick, your ticket sales went up after you went on tour with me.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, even all this time, Poetic Justice, whatever it is he's gonna say, he's gonna be like, listen, I'm the reason why y'all are popping. That's his best case to me.
Let's stay on Future because this pod does drop on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
The album, We Still Don't Trust You is gonna drop on Friday. Would you be disappointed if? And this is a question for the whole room. Would you guys be disappointed if they don't diss Drake again?
No.
Or do you expect another diss? And if so, will you be happy if you hear it?
You don't think if they drop another diss on Drake, it's gonna seem like, why are we spending so much attention on this man if you guys are beefing with him so bad? Like, why another one?
They got a number one record off the first one.
Well, but then
It's clout
again,
chasing, I agree.
Drake can use that against them. Like, you just keep dropping my name in your songs,
agree.
and your
Yeah,
records are kicking
I
off.
100% agree.
That's why I wouldn't be disappointed because I'd rather them not, because I think that Metro said online this past week of we would have had number one record regardless. This is this album.
Nah,
and
I don't agree with that.
I disagree with that as well. And I think that if it already looks sus that you're grouping up to diss Drake. That already looks sus to me as like, okay, he's a big bad wolf of rap. We got to team up to get him. So doubling down on your two projects, and I'm sure it's not going to be just Future dissing Drake. I'm sure it's going to have some feature or something.
Of course.
So the fact that you're spending all this time dissing Drake, you're turning him into Bowser.
Yeah.
Where it's like, we got to call the whole crew to come get him. And it's like, to me, if you're saying that you all just as good as him or whatever, you wouldn't have this energy. Because that's the thing is, Drake would look crazy if Drake, all the times he's been attacked, dissed, whatever, if he came and said, yo, Wayne, let's go.
Exactly.
And he could do that. He could come say, Nicki, let's go diss Pusha T. And so the fact that people are doing that to him, I think is like, it kind of, to me, it's more a point in Drake's favor where he can add that to his rapping of like, yeah, it takes 5 of y'all, you know, to come attack just me. When it's like, I wouldn't do that to y'all type of deal. So I hope they don't. I hope that this one is just music. Maybe some subtle shots, like, you know, a 1-2 shot
but
here.
But just not the whole focus on that. Like, let the album be the album.
Yeah.
I feel that. I would want that actually.
Yeah,
like,
because
overall,
the album would be good.
Did you fuck with the last one that dropped?
I did.
Yeah.
I liked it. So I think if they just put it out an album without focusing on this, like, not everything in life can be about Drake. I know he loves it.
That's the clip right there.
Like, not everything in life is about Drake. Like, no one cares that much.
Well, they timed this drop pretty conveniently if it's not about Drake. But okay.
Yeah. So that's my thing is like, let's just leave it alone. Let's just leave it.
Let's talk about Jermaine real quick before we move on to another topic. Things could have updated, but by the time of this recording, Jermaine did apologize.
You can't update that.
He did apologize. He did take 7-minute drill off of the tape. I think that does water down the overall
It's
tape.
still on there.
It's still there?
Yeah. Hold on,
It's probably going to be deleted by the time.
yeah, it's still there.
Okay. He's still at Dreamville Fest right now. So, he's probably cleaning up.
So 3 days later.
Yeah, he's probably just like cleaning up. But
He's still clearing his soul.
he claims that it's going to be deleted,
Mhm.
right? Well, at bare minimum, even if it's not deleted, he regrets it.
Mhm.
So, how do you guys feel about that? I personally feel like it was a soft move.
I'm embarrassed for him personally.
Yeah.
I respect the maturity of it because it takes a bigger
Yeah.
man to say, you know what, like I was talking some crazy shit, which you kind of were. But
I like
if I
it.
take my Kendrick cape off, I do respect the maturity of it. As a hip hop fan, you can't be apologizing after you went at this nigga.
That's all you had to say.
I don't respect the maturity of it, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm a healed man myself, and I think that there's sometimes you got to stand on business.
Yeah.
Like if you said this, you did. Because to me, I think that this is an example of people getting to him, whether it's people in his life or the internet. Because to me, I thought that was a respectful jab, first step, whatever.
It was a nice job.
And I said
Nice
this
little job.
on the other pod. That was already a flex to Kendrick because Kendrick's been planning for months. You did this in 7 minutes. If you listen to the bars on the end half of that, you writing that, in 5 minutes basically, and Kendrick's been planning for months.
Yeah, but I can write fiction very fast. It doesn't take long.
But you can write it you can write things when you're heated. And then that's the problem is he wrote it saying, oh, I was heated, I was in the moment, this and that. But
Yeah.
isn't that the whole point? I mean, I'm not heavy in the
I
rap
think he-
beef, but isn't that the whole point of beef? You write it and get it out. You
While
then
you're
don't
pissed,
apologize
yeah.
right after.
I think he put too much emotion into it, and it came out very. When you're arguing like with your significant other, and then they send you a text and they just add a little bit extra in it that didn't need to be added. Yeah, I think that's what it was.
It's a
Because
little too real.
him in his soul, he knows that Pimp a Butterfly wasn't a bad album. But
That was a crazy take.
he's like, fuck, I gotta say something about this nigga.
That's
Yeah.
fine though. I don't care if he was,
that, to me, here's
I
the
like
thing.
it.
To me,
You're the last nigga on the planet that can claim that another man's discography or album, sorry, not full discography. You're the last nigga on the planet that can call somebody else sleepy.
relax. We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. We're not
I'm
gonna do
saying
that.
the general populace of music fans, the consensus was that J. Cole put out sleepy music for a big portion of his career.
Mhm.
Let's be real.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
lot of people were saying
a lot
that.
of people.
Yeah.
And I would come to agree for most of his early discography. You can't say something else was sleepy music.
I think that's fine because the people who came out the woodwork hating on To Pimp a Butterfly, I was here for it. Now, personally, I love that album, so that I don't agree with him
So how are you here for it?
because Kendrick is one of those artists who you're not allowed to hate in certain
Yes.
circles.
Yeah.
And so it's
Yeah.
like,
It's hard to hate greatness. Yeah.
no,
No,
it-
continue.
Yeah, he's
continue.
great,
My bad.
no,
Okay.
you're not allowed to hate Kendrick. So it's like, Tim Butterfly was the epitome of that, where once everyone told you this was art and it was perfect,
Yeah.
some people felt dumb not liking it. And it's like, you being the GOAT or the greatest should just be like, people can say freely, nah, that was whack. Nah, that was good. Because that's kind of what happens with Drake on the other side of it's cool to hate Drake, where if you like something that from Drake, you speak out and you're like, nah, I like this. Y'all don't like this, I like this. J. Cole is the other way, where it's quick to let's hate J. Cole. I don't like this, I don't like this.
But then there's also
Yeah.
people that argue, how can you hate on J. Cole? Even though the music may not be at the same pace as what Kendrick's coming out with, the lyrics he's putting in there are still strong. So everyone that loves J. Cole, and we know some people that love J. Cole, are going to say everything he does is fire. The same way some people say everything Drake does is fire.
Yep.
But there's just more people that choose to hate on Drake because they feel like they need to because he's the more popular one.
It's
all the same. It's all different cool levels. It's
Exactly.
like it's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool to hate on Cole and say he's whatever, and then it's cool to be like Kendrick's the best. He's just the smartest, and then it's cool to be like Drake is soft. You know what I mean?
I'm
Yeah.
not agreeing. I'm not jacking that.
No.
I'm not completely. Not completely. I'm not jacking
I
that.
gotta
Because
say-
there's some Cole fans that are like, they're very snobby too.
Oh,
true.
yeah.
ours
You
do.
just
There
don't
are a
get
lot.
it. Yeah,
No,
yeah,
true.
yeah.
You're right.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
are the snot.
I'm saying the more
But still,
casual fan
overall,
who will
I feel like-
regurgitate things without actually knowing the music.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Someone can, for Kendrick's album, they're bigging it up, not really knowing it.
Yeah.
They listened to it one time and said, okay, I guess it's great.
It's
Bro,
narrative.
I
They run
think
with
for
the narrative.
myself when it comes to
Yeah.
Kendrick, like Pimp a Butterfly is not my favorite Kendrick album, but I do love it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I do have other Kendrick albums that people won't put at his top. That's probably my top. Like I think
Mhm.
Damn is one of my favorite Kendrick albums. I put that up there with Good
Mhm.
Kid personally because it's his most versatile album.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get it. There's a lot of the super fake intellectual Kendrick fans that are like, yeah,
Yeah.
Pimp a Butterfly is the best, but they're not bumping it regularly.
And that's why I'm happy that J. Cole dissed it, because I think that was the time, or the first time since the album has come out, where people were like, okay, I can say it. I don't really like that album. Because to me, I was talking about music aging with Kendrick, Cole, and Drake. 10 years from now, all this discourse we're having about in the moment is not going to exist. I think about it with my little brother and his friends. When I show them an album or an artist, they're not in the moment to know so-and-so was corny at the time or so-and-so was doing so. All they hear is the music and they go, no, this is fire. And I think that Pimp a Butterfly is going to stand the test of time regardless. But I think how we're talking about it now is the internet moment that came out in the middle of the internet being at its peak. And it's like, if you think this is bad, you're an idiot. When it could just be like,
No, it's toxic Kendrick fans. I agree with that.
no. I'm saying
agree with
music.
that.
I'm saying music fans in general, because even as a rap fan,
Yeah.
even as a rap fan, for Kendrick, if you're a rap fan and you say you don't like that album, you're looking at that person crazy. The rest of it's just a fact. When it's like that album is good, but I could completely understand someone not liking it. That album is so different from how rap sounds as a whole. If someone doesn't like it, they're not crazy for that.
That's
So it's like,
Okay.
this was the only time where that came to the forefront of, okay, it's okay to not like Kendrick. Because I think Kendrick doesn't need all that. That's my point, is a lot of Kendrick fans, Kendrick stans, add all this sprinkle of this shit, and it's like, he doesn't need that. His music is great on its own. We don't need to make it like you're dumb if you don't like Kendrick.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. The toxicity of the fans that were like making that exhale and saying, you know what, I don't like To Pimp a Butterfly. That's
Yeah.
great. The opposite side that I'm seeing is those same niggas are now shitting on Mr. Morale, because Mr. Morale, I think, was a solid album.
Yeah.
These nans are making Mr. Morale seem like it was a wackish
You
shit.
guys
ever
did
heard.
that. You guys
Who's
did
you
that.
guys?
The Kendrick fans. Listen, I thought it
They're
was.
putting me in a box. I listen to all three of these niggas
You also argued for Kendrick for 5 hours.
because he's my favorite rapper.
Okay, so you just answered it right there.
Yeah. Anyways, my point is
Yeah,
this:
but all right.
the Kendrick fans did this because I think it's a good album,
Yeah.
but Kendrick's not allowed to have a good album. You know, it's like,
Because you hold greatness to a high standard. I get it now.
I mean-
Chris, drop the sound effects, man. Next topic.
Kendrick can't have a good album. So with Kendrick, it's either like it's a classic, the best we ever heard, or it's so smart you don't get it. Like Mr. Morales to me was just good. Like, it's just good.
Bro, it's a solid 7.5, 8 out of 10 album to me.
I was gonna
personally.
say 6.
That's crazy. Mr. Morales a 6 out of 10.
6 is
bro?
good.
6 is good.
Yeah, 6 is good.
For that
6 is
album.
above average.
All right, these are the same niggas that are saying that the man less than 40% of his music is good music. All
Hey,
right.
the hits.
All right.
But like your reaction is my point, because
Mr. Morales a 6 out of 10?
But listen, I said good album, so good is above average. 6 is above average. So it's like we both saying good album, but to you, when you hear a good album in
Would you go
Kendrick,
to a restaurant and eat their food consistently if it was 6 out of 10?
Nah.
I don't bump Mr. Morales like that. So there's your point. But I said it's a good album, but you as a Kendrick fan, good album to you is an 8.
Yeah.
And
And
an 8 is a upper echelon of albums.
No,
And you're
8
getting
is good,
offended by the
period.
6 because you love Kendrick so much.
Can you graduate and get a degree getting 60% on
No,
your
you cannot.
Okay, so how's that good?
He's
Like,
saying it's
what? What
You
are we
can
talking about?
graduate. You can graduate at 60.
You can get to what school did you go to? What
You
school did
usually
you go
need,
to?
like, at
Hold on,
least
hold
a
on.
70.
What university did you go to?
Ryerson,
You went to Ryerson,
Mhm.
and then before Ryerson, you went to what? Pickering.
Seneca.
You went? No. I'm sorry,
Oh,
high
Pickering.
school.
Pickering, yeah.
All right, cool. Do you feel like if you got averaged a 6,
Mm-hmm.
a 60% on all of your courses, you'd be able to get into Ryerson?
No.
Okay, but you did good in school.
But he didn't have to do good in every subject.
I said average.
No, listen.
But
you're
you
proving-
can get a
you're-
60 in one subject and still be an excellent
He's
student.
proving my point. My point is good.
Pam, would you date a man that was
No.
that was a 6 out of 10 in every category that you find?
Absolutely
proper?
not, but I don't go
But
below
that's not
average.
a good man. You want a
Absolutely
good
no.
man in your life, no?
Yeah, but not every album has to be amazing by the person that you love. Other
I
people can
agree.
have a lower score for it.
6
it's
is good.
okay.
6 is above
But
average.
that's not a good man, right? The 6. He's not.
But
You-
maybe
You want someone
maybe
Pam, I know who you are. You want someone at your standards that's at least an 8. An 8 is good for Pam. An 8 is good for Chris. an 8 is good for me, but it's not for Adriel. That's the point I'm trying to make.
But he's not saying the album is
He said
good.
it's good.
He
and
said
it's
it's
a 6.
above average.
No, he said it's a good album.
Buddy, turn that 6 upside down. It's a 9 now.
Yeah, we're cutting the topic there. All right, Pam. Do you want to take over this next topic for the people?
Sure, because it combines two great things: women and basketball.
Oh, we love women in basketball.
We
That's
do
a
love
fact.
women in basketball. And I think this weekend, maybe more people love women in basketball based on the ratings that I saw and how many people viewed that big game with Miss Caitlin Clark
Both of them.
and South Carolina.
Shout out to South Carolina.
And the game against LSU as well.
And that game against LSU, honestly, there were many other things on TV. I love my Raptors, but there was no way I was missing that game. It was way more interesting to watch.
Did you guys see that stat that it was the most watched basketball game on ESPN since 2004?
Crazy.
NBA,
And they've had the
everything
finals
related.
too.
That's crazy.
Mhm.
And you know what I will say? I, to be real, did not know Caitlin Clark's game like that.
Mm.
I had been following her since about her second year, and I knew that she was explosive, but I think that if Steph Curry had her game, the Warriors wouldn't be in 9th place right now because she's like
Yeah.
a true point guard who will just shoot from half.
Mhm.
And I think that even that kind of player, we really have not seen it at any level, men or women.
You guys remember when Steph was kind of coming into his own, like 2016-ish, like before
Yeah.
the chips?
Yeah.
And like you had to like tune in, like, yo, Steph is just throwing up bombs.
Like
Yeah.
2012, 2013 when he was going crazy against the Knicks because they won in 2015.
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say it a little earlier than what I mentioned. But yeah, those times when Steph was just throwing up bombs, like
Like
long
before
range.
threes became a regular
Yeah, so
thing.
we're like, yo, he just shot that shit. Like, that's the feeling I get when I watch Caitlyn. I'm like, God damn, she just did that?
and you know she's just throwing it up like at peak times when they need to catch up. She's like, no, it's fine. I'll shoot from the logo. It'll
Yeah.
go in. Like the confidence she has, and it must be like I'll be honest. Like I didn't watch a lot of women's basketball previous to this. It just there wasn't. I'm a basketball fan, but I didn't have any interest in it. I started watching from last year, from that LSU game last year, and I was like, oh. They got some girls. They got some girls that are putting it, and they're putting some entertainment value into it, which I think is what's drawing people in, and what's been missing from maybe the men's tournament, where there's no one going at each other like these girls were, which started last year, and then it brought it back this year when they had that matchup again.
And the names. I think
And
the,
the names, for sure.
men's game didn't have the names. I'm really excited for this. I think I'm calling this the 80s for women's basketball. They're getting into their time where they're having stars
That's true.
grow the league. I was showing Chris some videos of some of the girls in high school.
Mm.
The women's game is about to change so crazy.
Oh, for sure.
And people are not ready for what's about to happen. And personally, I'm not gonna say I'm the biggest women's basketball fan. I know there's bigger fans out there, but I had a poster of Diana Taurasi in my wall when I was
Did you
younger.
really?
Yeah, for real.
Wow.
And even at the level I was following women's basketball, it's basically me and my cousin. Like no one else knew nothing. And now it's like I think a lot of dudes can maybe name a few WNBA players. So I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like this right now. The game's on a different level. Like, everybody has their own favorite players for their own reasons. Like Caitlyn, a lot of people are fans of Caitlyn, which is dope. Now it's
Yeah.
not just when we started watching WNBA or seeing it in passing. It's not like, okay, it's Candace Parker and she's doing it.
Yeah.
It's Maya Moore and she's doing it. Now this next generation, you have Cameron Brink.
Yes.
I got a chance to watch her when I went to
Oh
Vegas.
yeah.
Juju, she's in her freshman year,
Juju's
so
crazy.
she's
People
gonna
are
be coming
loving
up.
on Juju too.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. There was a lot of Juju fans when I went to Vegas. Yeah, for sure. Paige is really
Yes.
good. Like Paige got hurt for a couple years, but she's really good. She's hooping. She's gonna go to the W next year. After she plays one more season, probably. So Angel's another one. Cardosa just won.
Yeah.
Cardosa's a hooper. I think Cardosa's probably the second best big coming out. You know what I mean? So this next generation is looking good. The one thing I would say, I saw a quote by Diana Taurasi saying like, yo, things aren't going to be so sweet in the WNBA.
I saw that.
I look at it two ways. One, no disrespect to Diana Taurasi. You got to post her up. She's my favorite female basketball player all time.
Yeah.
I do feel like it's kind of gatekeeping in a sense. It might be a hint of like jealousy in a sense because these women are making so much money and they're getting so much notoriety as opposed to like the players that are currently playing.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say to that is she's kind of right. You have to think about this. The WNBA, there's only how many teams, right?
Facts.
And half the people that get drafted, I watched a clip, and I think it was from TikTok, about some of the girls that got drafted from last year that had hype coming out of the college Final Four. One of the girls who was super hyped didn't even make the WNBA team.
That's what
because there's just not enough space.
One, there's not enough space, and because of that, there's so much talent. You could find a team with like 5 number one picks.
Exactly.
these teams now in WNBA,
so
many super teams. Yeah.
What I want now is because of the notoriety of Caitlyn bringing in and some of these other women, that hopefully the next TV deal is enough where the W can, one, be more of a financial success because right now they are at a bit of a deficit. And with that, they can slowly expand. So a lot more of these women can have more chances so we can watch more different teams in different cities. Right now, it's so condensed that the talent level is really high. So you might not do as well. Like there was a girl that was a number 3 pick, the girl that used to date Kevin Porter Jr.
Yeah.
She was out the W in a season and a half.
Yeah, you're right. It is so condensed the talent. It kind of is given like the 90s before they had expanded, even before that. What I do think though is I think that this time in the W is like a gold mine because
All the hype is coming right now.
Well, two things. People don't know, but last summer was the super team summer when all these players came together.
Yeah. Chicago Sky, a couple other squads.
And the last couple of years,
Aces.
I think has it been Sparks in Vegas, Chicago and Vegas?
It's Chicago and the Aces.
Chicago and Vegas have had their own kind of like dynasty going on.
Shout outs to Asia Wilson, man. That's my precious month.
Asia's.
I don't care how tall you are.
Nah, I love Asia. I love Asia.
And the Aces have said for their game against Iowa, they're going to the NBA arena because they know they're going to draw the crowds that are doing it. So it's starting.
That's my point, is that it's already starting in the W where sure more people are watching Caitlyn in the NCAA, but like Asia and Kelsey Plum are some of the only 2 hoopers, period, I follow on Instagram.
Yeah.
Like whatever Asia's doing, I'm here for it. And I think that the fact that the W is already growing with the better competition, better teams, that's going to be a huge thing. And these girls are coming into the W as stars already.
Yeah.
I think in the NBA, even that has gone a little bit.
That's why I don't want Diana and them to kind of gatekeep these girls. Because these girls, like, no disrespect to Diana, you're 41, I think, 42, whatever you are. You have to embrace this next generation. Because this next generation is going to, like, really showcase if the W is going to make a lot of bread, if the W is going to be more successful. You have to embrace the Caitlyns. You have to embrace these girls.
And I think they really can take that next step because I feel like, here's my example, LaMelo and Anthony Edwards. LaMelo was a very popular player before he even got to the NBA. Huge on Instagram, had a TV show with his family.
Facts.
You know, we've seen that popularity continue in the NBA, but he was popular before he got to the NBA in a completely different and unique way. Anthony Edwards, known in basketball circles, but most of his popularity has come since he's been in the NBA. Yeah. We've seen more of his personality. I think that in the W, that opportunity isn't always there because the casual fan is not always tuned in. So having a bunch of these women who are big stars before they even get to the W is, I think, going to help them so much. I think about someone like Asia Wilson. Did y'all see Asia celebrate the championship last year?
Oh, I watched every minute.
Like, there's no dude win the championship celebrating like that.
I think it's changing the dynamic because they're now coming in with this whole fan base of people.
And
the
money.
other women did too, women and men. There's little girls that now want to be these girls, and there were little girls that wanted to be Asia and Diana Taurasi and all those. But they're gonna change the dynamic of how it operates as a league now. And if Diana and them, they, like you said, Ralph, they have to embrace it because it's only gonna help the whole business to grow.
Yeah.
If you try to gatekeep and half these girls don't make it in because you're keeping all your vets in there or whatever you're doing. Or the
Yeah.
vets, I mean, they're, let's be honest,
The
they're
whole
not
product's
making
gonna
as much
fail.
money as it is. But if these girls are what's going to bring the sponsorships to the league, embrace it. Let it grow. You have to bring the girls in
I
and
think
let
Ralph
it grow.
is right. You were talking about them gatekeeping.
Yeah.
I think the money is why
Of course.
they're gatekeeping, because I could see
I was just about to say
Yeah.
the NIL deals, like Caitlyn's made more bread than probably the top 5 paid WNBA athletes this season.
Even
combined.
Season?
Angel said that.
Whole
Angel said
career.
leaving college, I'm going to make less money in the WNBA.
Yeah,
she said that.
Angel is a millionaire.
Yeah.
She's not going to touch an M in the W,
No.
even after this new TV deal. That's not a knock to the W,
Mhm.
but you got to embrace these women. So maybe one day somebody's going to start hitting the
Ralph
M's.
whole careers. You're like
Yeah.
someone's career salary in the W can be maybe a couple million if you play long enough.
Caitlyn can go retire right now and live a good life.
Yeah, Caitlyn
She
and
got
Angel.
that deal from Ice Cube for $5 million to play in the 3-on-3 league.
No,
like,
and I think that's why I think you have a big point here with the gatekeeping, is because think about someone like DT, who's the GOAT to me of
Me too.
women's basketball.
hmm
She maybe has made close to that amount through endorsements, playing
Yeah.
overseas, and even playing this long. Caitlyn is what, a 21-year-old, 22-year-old who's probably already 10 million up.
mm,
And so think about if you're a player like, name whoever, who's been a star in this league for a decade plus, and even someone like Candace Parker, who's on TV with the NBA.
Yeah.
she probably makes more money doing her telecasting.
And
than
probably
she
still-
does playing.
1,000%.
And that's the point. More money not on the basketball court than on
Yeah.
the basketball court, and probably still less money than Caitlin Clark.
Sabrina probably made more money at All-Star Game than she made her last season.
And I'm telling you, Caitlyn's in these commercials with
Mm-hmm.
my boy Jimmy, like for State Farm and the insurance commercials.
Mm-hmm.
Those aren't going anywhere. They're not going to lose her as the face of what they're doing.
Nah, she's locked in.
I think
They're
they gotta-
locked in,
they
so
have-
she's going to keep some of that.
I think they have to let her, and this is what I'll compare it to. In the NBA, there's a lot of guys who it's less now, but bitter about all the money that's coming to the NBA because think about it. Back in the day, someone who had let's go DeMar DeRozan, when he was coming off his rookie deal and he got 4 years, $50 million, that was a huge deal,
Yeah.
and everyone thought he's overpaid at $450. $450 right now is what,
Nothing.
bench money,
Yeah.
and like Jakob Pertl, who can't make a layup to save his life,
Shout out Big Yak.
just got almost 2 years, 80 million. I mean, sorry, 4 years, 80 million. And so it's like you're seeing that it's now every player making money. I think in the W, it will likely be, at least for this time, only the stars making that kind of money. And that, I think, is what makes it maybe hurt a little bit more.
Yeah.
But if you're a star from the past and you see
Yo, just be happy you have a job right now.
whoever,
Just be happy they're growing the game enough that
Yeah.
maybe you'll get more. Maybe the sponsorships will come in to start to bring about all this equality in pay because they never expected to be paid as much as the men. They just wanted their share of whatever the earnings are to be at par. So if more of the earnings and share is going up because of these girls, let it go up
More
because your
power
money's
to
going to
it.
go up too.
For sure. I got 2 questions. One's normal and one's stupid. So
one's normal.
tell me which one you guys want to hear first.
Stupid.
Want to hear a stupid one? All right, cool. So there's a lot of people, and we've seen this with a lot of professional athletes, not just basketball, but these guys make a lot of money. Adriel, you just mentioned it. And that comes with potentially being trapped. Would you trap Caitlin Clark, knowing that she's making 10 mil?
No. No thanks. No thanks. No traps.
Okay. Would she have to
Yeah.
be careful about a guy potentially trying to trap her?
I think that's definitely a possibility for sure. I
If
think
Caitlyn looked like Tyler, would you trap?
I'm not into trapping nobody, no matter how they look.
I'm not gonna lie, the women's tournament was some of the best basketball.
Oh
I've watched
yeah,
in-
Facts.
No, this year,
In a very, very
separately,
long
like
time.
it was definitely way
Yeah.
more fun to watch.
And Juju? All right, let's move on. Because Juju can hoop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, this one, I think we're going to go to Pam first.
Oh no.
I don't have anything prepared for this. So I'm really going to be freestyling.
Pam, this is
Okay.
a lot of pressure. It's the last topic.
Okay.
Okay. Best Disney animated film of all time.
Not your favorite, the best.
The best.
Oh. The best of all time.
Yep. Listen, I know someone at your age has seen a lot of animated films.
I have.
So I know you got to have a good answer for us.
And I think it's I don't care if it's my favorite or not. Lion King.
Okay. Lion King's a good one. Chris, you got one?
Man, kind of sprung that one on me, man. I gotta go through the old Rolodex.
The old Rolodex. Okay.
Old Rolodex.
I-
You
I-
go first.
You have the VHSs at home?
Nah, not anymore. Maybe at my parents' house. They
Yeah,
might
my
have.
mom
the old-
has all my old VHSs.
My dad had them all, and then he let them go, and now they're worth a ton.
I was about to
Oh,
say.
that's
Apparently, they're
crazy.
worth like a lot of money.
Yeah.
Oh, for real?
Oh, wow.
I
Yeah.
gotta go check my mom.
Yo, check them out,
Yeah,
man.
Mother's Day's around the corner.
Okay.
There you go.
I got a personal favorite that I don't think is the best that I want to mention. And then I have two new ones that technically,
It's cheating.
no, they count, but I just wanted to make sure I know they're technically not really in this. So one of my personal favorites, Prince of Egypt.
Prince of Egypt's a classic.
Yeah, I grew up
As
with
a
that
preacher's
one.
son,
yeah.
I
I
respect
had to show some respect. And then Inside Out
Inside Out.
and Soul.
Soul was
Oh,
good.
Soul is a
Soul,
banger.
I
Soul
think
with
is
Jamie Foxx?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually,
Soul is
That's a banger.
I watched that during the pandemic, actually.
same. Yeah, it's Disney Pixar, so I know that is a little fudging of the lines, but Soul to me is at least in the top 5.
I respect that.
That's fair.
My favorite, or I'll say the best, to me is Hercules.
Ooh.
Yeah. I think Hercules is the
That's-
best. Yeah.
I fucks
It just
with that.
it,
That's a
it
funny
had
one.
so many themes, like adult themes, that I didn't understand, that it allowed me to rewatch it and like re-understand things. And it was still funny, but it wasn't over the top funny. It wasn't slapstick funny, so I like that. And like, yeah, there was some serious shit going on. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
So say no more with that. The fights were cool. Like, the guy that voiced Hades, fuck, I forget his name, but
He was killing it though.
yeah. So shout out to Hercules. Hercules was a good movie for sure.
That's what you think that's the best.
I think that's the best. Yeah, it had the best balance of the early Disney films, in my opinion. Like Aladdin was good.
Aladdin
Obviously,
was
Lion
great.
King.
Aladdin's another good
Lion
one.
King's great, but Lion King, I don't want to give it the edge just because it is a copy of another movie.
Yeah,
low-key.
yeah.
And if you know the real story of Lion King, like, as an African, like, it's not
It's
not appeasing. So yeah, I'll go with Hercules. Yeah, nice tale. And I always like Greek mythology.
Hercules was, when I was young, Hercules was a big one. I had it on tape. I had
Yeah,
little
toys.
figurines.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
For sure.
Man, Hercules was a good one. I'm gonna shout out the old Fantasia. Remember that one?
Fantasia used to trip me out
Wow.
it scared me as a
Dude,
kid.
I
I'm not gonna
liked
lie.
it, dude. I
I
liked
was not
it.
a Fantasia person.
No, but I'd say one that I think might slip under the radar. I think it's called Fern Gully. You remember that one?
That's a throwback.
Remember
I've seen-
Fern
I haven't
Gully?
seen that since.
I've never watched
It's
it.
like I think it's like about like fairies in it. It's like or Alice in Wonderland.
Okay, I like that.
I'm surprised
like
no
that.
one named Tarzan.
Tarzan's up there too.
Yeah, Tarzan is a big
Yeah.
one for me.
It's a big trip down memory lane.
These are all
Yeah.
very manly animated movies with like
You said Alice in Wonderland.
I said Alice,
Alice in
in Wonderland.
Wonderland isn't. That's true.
Yeah,
That's
I
true.
said Soul.
Like I also really
said
liked the
Inside Out.
little.
That's
I
okay.
really liked the Little Mermaid too, to be honest.
Little Mermaid's up there for sure. Ursula scared me as a kid. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
Yo,
Ursula
she
was
was
different.
freaky.
Yeah,
man.
Ursula's a little weird. I still haven't watched the Halle Berry.
Oh,
Bailey
me
one
neither.
yet.
Yeah.
It was
definitely
cute.
gotta watch it.
It was
yeah.
cute.
I just got my Disney Plus back, so I'll watch it.
Here's a couple I feel like we had to mention in this, even though they're not at the top.
Yeah.
Chicken Little. Definitely not at the top, but a notable one at that time. Cars. I've always thought Cars was overrated, but
I never watched.
Yeah, I
Cars.
never watched Cars.
okay, so we're all on the same page. And this one for me, at least one character from this is memorable. Emperor's New Groove.
Oh, Gronk.
Yzma.
Oh, Yzma.
Yzma was a roast back in the day. We would roast someone and be like, "You're uglier than Yzma."
Mm-mm.
So yeah, that was.
Yeah, Yzma was pretty ugly.
Was Shrek? Was Shrek
I
Disney
think it was
too?
Pixar.
Was that
Yeah, I think
Pixar?
Shrek was Pixar. 'cause
Yeah,
I don't see it
shout
here.
out to Shrek for sure. For sure. All right, guys, you already know what it is. Gave you a solid episode 52. We're gonna close this out right now, and I want to do a couple things like we usually do. First, our animation suggestion. The second season of this animated cartoon just wrapped up. It's on Amazon Prime. I probably mentioned it when the first season dropped, but you guys go out and watch that. It's Invincible.
Mm-hmm.
Big shout out to Robert Kirkman, probably one of the best modern graphic novel writers of all time, and both of his adaptations have done really well, The Walking Dead and Invincible. So you guys go watch Invincible if you're into superhero shit. So there's that. Listener shout outs. I want to give a big shout out actually to my family, to my cousin, EJ. He listens to a lot of episodes.
Shout out
Um,
CJ.
Yeah, big ups to CJ. He usually listens on his commute. So shout outs to you. Hopefully you can pull up to something that we may be doing in the future. So we'd be happy to see you. But yeah, big shout outs to CJ.
Yeah, big shout out CJ.
And then our last part of the podcast, our non-rap suggestion. Adriel, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. This is what me and Chris were talking about earlier. You just find a band and you have no context. That's my favorite thing to do right now is go on that Spotify create radio feature and see what you find. This one had me listening to this band for probably 4 hours straight when I couldn't listen to J. Cole because of obvious reasons. The Smiths, The Night Has Opened My Eyes. This song made me feel nostalgic in all the wrong ways. Like all these songs made me just like miss people that I haven't talked to in so long. And I kept listening. I didn't stop myself, but sometimes you just want to hear that kind of music that makes you feel like heartbroken nostalgia. So The
I feel that.
Smiths, The Night Has Opened My Eyes.
Nice. I like
Nice.
that.
I like the Smith. I'm gonna check that song out.
Definitely put that on my Serato.
Mm.
How you feeling, Chris? What's your non-rap suggestion?
So mine today, I'm gonna go for any of our other listeners that have listened in the last couple episodes. You might be able to pick up where the cover of this came from because it came from the same set. So I'm gonna shout out the original. It's "Lake of Fire" by the Meat Puppets, but the one that I specifically want to bring people to is the live cover that Nirvana did on their Unplugged. The last Nirvana one I did was the
They covered someone.
yeah, they covered Lead Belly. Sorry, they
Yeah.
covered Lead Belly, and that's where I was talking about it. But this set, they did another cover, Lake of Fire, and I like the Nirvana one better because I think it's just it hits me just because I've heard it many times just listening to the Unplugged. But the original was cool. So Meat Puppets, Lake of Fire.
Nice. Shout out to Meat Puppets.
We got a good group of songs this week.
Yeah.
For me, I'm gonna go with a Thundercat record. Dragon Ball Durag. Shout out to Akira Toriyama.
Big track.
But that was one of the first songs I heard from Thundercat. So Dragon Ball Durag is my non-rap suggestion. And last but not least, Pam, I need you to do two things.
Yes.
I need you to say your non-rap suggestion, sorry, and then also give the listeners one last thing that you want to tell them before we close this pod.
Oh, you're putting me on the spot. You didn't even prep me for that one.
Crazy.
Okay, well, for my non-rap suggestion, honestly, it just won at the Oscars, so probably more people have heard it than not, but I get in my feels a lot, and it's a nice song to feel sad to, kind of, Adriel, so if you need another song to kind of get in your
cry
feels
to?
to, it's like a slower one, but it's just, it's a good one, so I'm going to go with What Was I Made For by Billie Eilish. Honestly, if you really want to feel sad and just cry it out, that's a good one. I don't know if anyone here cries it out ever.
No.
Never have.
Never?
No.
Don't know what that's about.
I'm cried since my dad left.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'm gonna
Well,
delete that.
Before you get time quoted for that.
Crazy.
Oh my god.
what I would like to tell the people. I think I'm going to go along with the same sort of line that we've been going with throughout this podcast, or sort of alluding to the topic that we talked about earlier, but just make sure that when you're doing whatever it is you're doing in life, just remember that every day is not promised, and that do things that you want to do, not that others are waiting for you to do, or what you think social media wants you to do. Do things for yourself. Get shit done for yourself. Don't let anyone else tell you what you should be doing.
I like that. I like
I
that.
like that a lot.
That's
Damn.
a great way to end.
Shout out to you, Pam. Shout out to the listeners. We appreciate you guys. Be sure to continue to tune in. Subscribe as much as you can. Adriel, talk to him.
Leave us a rating on all your podcast platforms. Not Google Podcasts anymore. Of course, they got axed, but leave us a 5-star rating. 5 stars, not a single star less. Follow us on the interwebs, on Instagram at The Mayor Media, on Instagram at Mayor's Office Pod, and of course, come over to YouTube and see our beautiful faces every single episode. at The Mirror Media on YouTube. And of course, until next time, cancel canceling, bring back bullying, know yourself, know your worth.
And support the WNBA.
Do that before you do the other four.